BlackBerry's stock is the subject of a U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission investigation. The SEC looking into some suspicious trading on the smartphone maker's shares, trading that happened ahead of reports of a possible takeover from Samsung. Susan Prince is here with more on this. Susan, what is this investigation all about?
Well, the investigation is based on a jump up in the stock price of BlackBerry on January 14th. Let's take a look at a chart. It really shows a very clear picture of what made the SEC and the OSC concerned. This is leading up to January 14th. You see a number of sellers coming in at the sort of $9.50 level, and then it bounced up to over $12.50. That kind of activity sets off not only some algorithms where people say what's going on, but also some concerns by the regulators to make sure that there isn't stock manipulation. In this case, there was a question of whether or not someone called a news agency and said, you know, there's going to be a deal with Samsung and BlackBerry and it's going to be worth all kinds of money. And this news agency published that, and then it made the stock run up. So it's an interesting little process that may be manipulation.
And if in fact it is manipulation, how much money could you have made from something like this?
Quite a lot. The numbers, and they're looking at specifically at 200,000 shares of BlackBerry that traded. If you look at how that worked with a purchase of stock call options, which is the right but not the obligation to buy a stock at a certain price. At the time before the news went out, those call options were trading at 10 cents contract. If you look at, and there are 100 shares in each contract, if you look at buying enough contracts to do the 200 shares, so you put out $20,000 to do that, the net profit on that with this move would have been $490,000. So a relatively small output for a big gain. So if it is manipulation, that's fairly alarming.
Yeah, big money that you're talking about there. Speaking of money, let's take a look at how the North American markets are doing.
We're seeing some a little bit of a rolling over in the markets today. We saw a very strong morning, and now as the afternoon has progressed, we're seeing some weakness as we close out the week. Toronto, New York, both NASDAQ and Dow Jones are down. If we take a look at the commodities, we continue to see strength in West Texas oil, trading above $50 to close out the week, and both the gold and the Canadian dollar showing a little bit of weakness.